Hey guys, welcome back to the Creepy Cascadia podcast. As always, I'm your host Sammy, here accompanied by my very handsome co-host Adam,
Hey,
who doesn't like me objectifying him, so I'm trying to be more respectful.
let's leave it to like handsome instead of sexy, Where you're gonna be your like my
Delicious.
12-inch, 10-pound little baby Jesus, Adam.
You took it to a real weird spot right there. That was not where I was going with that.
Yeah,
I don't.
you cut that. Cut that one.
Nope, leaving it in.
Leaving it
You
in.
played yourself.
Let myself.
Well, yep. So, babe, how's your day been going? We've been real busy.
We've been real busy. It's more just the weekend, the week,
Just this month is busy. I was thinking about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, God, I feel like, okay, once we get through the next few weeks, like, it'll be okay. But then I'm like, nope, Comic-Con's at the end of, right
Yep,
at the beginning
early
of March, right?
First weekend of March.
Yeah, so we'll have that. You're going all 4 days, right?
That's my plan.
Yeah.
That's my plan. And I think at work I found out like I now need to be there like March, like that Monday. Like I think I'm filling in for somebody on that Monday. Like right after Comic-Con.
Oh, I'm like, but it's not on a Monday, but that Sunday.
Yeah.
If you
So,
went
yes.
and partied hard at the Comic-Con.
Well, so usually what happens is just going all 4 days.
Wears you fucking out.
Yeah, it's a little draining.
It's a lot.
Yeah. There have been days where I go Thursday, Friday, and like Saturday I'm like, maybe I'll just
Hang
like
out at home today.
Well, I feel like I've gotten like headaches.
Yeah.
And like haven't felt great because it's like
you walk around, you're dehydrated, you're just exhausted from walking around
exactly
all day.
Looking at everything, too much like visual stimulation. Yeah, just all that.
And there's a lot of people there too, which is also like for me that drains me being around a ton of people all the time.
Yeah.
Or even just for 24, not 24 hours, but just, being at Comic-Con for one day, I'm like, okay, well, I'm good with one and done. Like, one day I'm good, because it's just, there's so many people there.
Yeah.
Yep. And I also am not, like, comic books and stuff. I like looking at all the horror stuff, and I was super excited when I first went with you, and I was like, they have, like, horror stuff here. That's amazing.
Yep.
Not just comics. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like... Yeah, just not getting a break from people. Like, I am an introvert. I need my time.
Yeah.
And, like, it's hard to get.
Yeah.
It's hard to get there.
Especially when you live with somebody, too.
That's
like, you never get any time alone.
That's not it at all. It's I can be introverted and recharge with you.
Yeah.
I don't have to be. It's more public, people I don't know.
Yeah.
So then... Yeah, it's nice now because, like, you're going to come on. So I'll go run around Thursday, do all the things.
Yep.
Try to hit up, like, as many of, like, the artists and the comic book places that actually sell comics.
Yeah.
And then Friday...
I'll be there.
You'll be there, and we hang out with our friends, like, all that day.
That's right, they're coming Friday, too. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we always seem to work at, like, a slower speed. I think we used to do Saturday. Is what we used to do, right?
I think the last time, so the
last
before
time was
COVID
Friday,
was like a Saturday. I went with you.
Yeah.
And we met up with our friends.
Yeah, and so it was like, because Saturday is like the busiest day.
Yeah. Now pre-COVID it was.
Yes.
It wasn't that busy this last time we went.
Yeah, I mean Saturday was still the busy day,
but not busy.
But just the whole con. Since COVID has been decreased.
Yeah.
Now, the past few times were like off times, right?
True.
So, like, I was out of state for the last one. The last one was in August, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. You were in Tennessee.
And I was in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So, just the whole
atmosphere changed. But I mean, that's just, I feel like the whole world has changed since COVID, right?
Yeah, and we'll see, because... This is finally the last one where it's now back to March.
Right.
But they just had one in August. It's part of the problem. They just had one in August, so it's only been like 6, 8 months, 9 months, whatever. Now, we have another one, so I don't know how people... It may be less people again. I mean...
Which maybe they're doing that, like, strategically. Like, if they provide more than one a year, it's not quite as, like... ooh, we got to get these tickets. We got to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas there's people like you that like, I'm going to go every time I can because it's Comic-Con.
Yes, absolutely. That's how my mindset is.
Yeah.
I believe they will go back to annual now that they're back to March. In my mind, what they were doing was they missed a March. COVID hit. March 2020. They didn't have a con.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, they were like...
They had scheduled one.
They had scheduled one.
We had our tickets, and they, like, it was right after our wedding. That was the
like
thing.
Shutdown, yeah.
Yeah, like, it was like the week before that they announced that they were not having it because of, you know.
Everybody was like, people are dying all over the place. We don't know what's going on. We're not. Like, creators were dumping out of the con. Like, just...
Right.
It was like they had to...
Well, and there was, like, starting to be travel restrictions put into place, too. So, like, some people couldn't come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a lot going on in 2020.
Yeah.
They canceled it. And then it was, like, I think the next one they held was, like, December. Yeah, it was, like, December 2021.
I think you're right.
Was the first one they held.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, like, it was off by, like, the 4 months. And then, like, 2022, they couldn't hold it in March because it was so soon. So, I think they're going to be back to annual. I think they're going to be back to March annually. Maybe, right? That's my prediction.
Yeah.
And then, I think when they, like you say, this one might still be less attended. Like, I think they're still not sold out on, like, any given day, any individual day. You might even be able to still buy 4-day tickets. Like, I don't know. Like that's usually the indicator on how many people are going.
Right.
So, yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, it's we'll go Friday.
Yep.
And then Saturday and Sunday, I still plan on going back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was my boss. My boss asked me to work cover for him that Monday the 6th.
Mm.
And I was like, ooh, I usually really want to call in Monday.
Now you can't.
Morning. And it's like, now I can't.
Well, I mean...
It was like, okay, I'll suck it up.
If you're not getting a commission or anything, like, you could just call it an early day on Sunday. Or not go at all. Like, if you're feeling super exhausted.
Who's saying I'm not getting a commission? Just kidding.
No, I'm saying if you don't. I do not have any problem with you getting commissions because I know how much you really like them and getting, that's like your thing that you like to treat yourself with a lot. So, I mean, not a lot at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I am really excited. Jeff Smith is there from Bone. He wrote the Bone comic series from Cartoon Books. It was like Cartoon Books was an indie series. It wasn't even Image, right? It's like... back in the 90s, and he's only done a few things, but like, yeah, I really liked Bone. It's like fantasy, but it starts like a cartoony character, but then they live in a world of like humans and stuff. So
interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll be able to dig for my Bone comics. Like my Image stuff is unorganized, or my independent stuff is unorganized.
Gotcha.
If I knew where it was, it'd be easier.
So you're gonna have to dig for your Bone.
I have to dig for my Bone. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep. Or like I already pulled out the all-in-one trade paperback thing.
Oh yeah.
Which is hilarious. I bought the thing. It's a first edition because they were like limited print run. Not doing that like first of its kind, like all in one. Because I think there were 55 issues.
Yeah.
And nowadays compendiums are right around the 55 issue mark anyway.
Okay.
So like Bone, in my mind, Bone did it first, put them all in one.
Fucking pioneer.
Said it would be limited. And then it was so popular, just print run. Like, they have printed this thing multiple times.
Yeah.
But mine's a first edition.
But
I read it. It's I didn't treat it like a first edition, like primo, so it's fine that they reprinted.
Yeah.
So
I'm super excited because Jamie Kennedy, Matthew Lillard, and Nev Campbell are going to be there.
Yeah.
And Skeet Ulrich.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cast, some of the crew, some of the people from Scream are going to be there.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. Matthew Lillard's amazing. Like, he does not get the recognition that he deserves, I feel like.
Yeah. He's had some real, like, iconic roles. And really doesn't...
He just kind of flies under the radar, I feel like. But maybe that's intentional.
Right?
Right?
Like, dude played Shaggy.
Yeah.
Which I think most people remember him at. Like, most people might attribute him to that movie more than Freddie Prinze Jr. was Fred.
Yeah.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar was Daphne.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And the chick from...
Linda Cardellino or something like that.
Yeah.
Freaks and Geeks Velma. And Grandma's Boy.
Yep.
Yeah, she was Velma.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I always attribute him to Scream because I'm like a horror fan, right? Like, that's where my mind goes. But I also remember him in like She's All That, where he was like the douchey guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, they kicked him out of the house. That's what I always remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The to be fair, Scream, that twist at the end.
Oh yeah, iconic.
2 killers.
1 cup.
I mean, I did really enjoy Scary Movie.
I was just gonna say, I think that's more Scary Movie than it was Scream.
Yeah, Scary Movie was like, I'm not gay, you sucked my dick, you know? Like, that was the...
You took me shopping. I don't give a fuck.
Right?
God, the Wayans brothers, I just freaking love them.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, yeah, because if I remember it, like, he gets stabbed, right? Like, is he the one...
Yeah.
He gets stabbed, so you don't think it's him, but then...
No. At the end, they stab each other.
Yeah, at the end, they stab each other.
Yeah.
And he's the one that, like, gets whiny about it, right?
He's like,
oh, man, I'm
you
bleeding
went too
a lot.
deep!
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, my parents are gonna be so mad! Like, that part is so freaking funny. He's like, hello? She's like, I called the cops, asshole. And he's like, oh, my dad are gonna be so mad. And he's like bleeding all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty excited for that Comic-Con this year. Which, I mean, I get excited because you're so excited for it. Like, it's your big thing, you know? Like, something that you look forward to every year. And I just, every time I go, I have a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much stuff to see.
Yeah.
And the cosplay is always amazing. Like, I love seeing people in cosplay. And you actually know some people that do cosplay from, you know, like, work and stuff. Yeah. So, that's really fun.
Yeah, it's real good. I was going to say, you're not even mentioning, like, Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there are some super bigger names coming. Like, they've announced Mark Ruffalo, Lori Petty in the recent days.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
crazy.
but nothing can nothing can top Lucius Malfoy and Dwight Schrute.
Right.
We got a picture.
Yeah.
It was 2019 Comic-Con that we got that. We did a photo op.
Yeah.
And then I got you, James Takei.
Yes.
George Takei. Jesus Christ. Boy, I'm like, whew, stone cold sober here, too.
I was like, is that right? Like, but I was like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George Takei.
Yeah.
Yeah, got that for you. I think it was like your birthday or something.
Yeah, it was.
Or Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were super excited about it.
I was super excited.
That was good. Yeah. He was awesome, too.
He was awesome. And that, we actually sat in on his panel, and that was amazing, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had, I asked the question of Rainn Wilson, remember?
No, I wasn't at that one. Yeah, so ECC. Pretty excited for that to come up. Pretty excited this year.
Yeah. I'm hoping to I always feel like I find, like, a sweet find.
You do.
Like, at each film that I go to. Like the hunt for the weird deal that you didn't expect.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
That, it really trips my, like, what do I want to say, like, thrift shopping, like...
Yeah. That Midwest got to get that good deal.
That Midwest, I got such a good deal on this.
Although that's not such a Midwest thing, because I'm literally the same way. I'm like, oh my God, let me tell you about this sweet freaking deal I just got.
Right. Yeah.
You like these jeans? $2.99 on clearance.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah,
got them from Target.
Yep. I've seen that it's like a meme, like the Midwest trope of like, let me tell you how good this deal was that I got on these.
Or like anytime somebody compliments you, you're like, oh my God, thank you so much. I got it on clearance. It only cost this amount of money. I got it from here. If you want, I'll send you the link. Like,
right. You too can have this amazing thing I have for such an affordable rate.
Here, let me just take it off and give it to you. Here you go. Yeah. Just enjoy.
You didn't ask for it. You don't want any of this, but yeah.
Yeah. You compliment me, you're going to get something in return.
Yeah.
Probably a sarcastic compliment, like, or comment like, you're so full of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I plan on hitting around, doing stuff.
Yeah.
Checking things out.
Yeah. Well, today we are back with part 2 of the Defeo murders, Amityville Murders.
Yeah, what are we doing bullshitting so much? People want us to get to the story.
Well, it's our podcast. They got to listen to us and we'll get there when we get there. Although we love you guys. Please don't stop listening just because we talk a lot.
You want a little recap? A little recap from where we're at? Let me see if I can recap for you. Recap. And you fill in any blanks that I missed, babe.
Okay.
How about that?
Sorry if I'm blinking a lot. I literally just made dinner and I cut up shallots to put in the sauce. Oh. And I feel like they were burning my eyes more than onions usually do. Oh. So I feel like I'm like,
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That's okay. I didn't think you were giving me the eyes or something.
I am giving you the eyes.
Yeah. Put it away.
I'm gonna get people are gonna be like, this woman constantly sexually harasses her husband.
I feel like if you're not doing that, you're not,
I don't know how to flirt like a normal person. I gotta take it too far.
Yeah. If you weren't, I'd be like, what's wrong, babe?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
It's like when you call me by my name. Like when you say Sammy, I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? What did you do? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, what day is it?
Oh, yeah.
I love that video.
Yeah.
Dude, mid-eating, cereal.
Mm-hmm. Or when the wives do it just to fuck with them.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty funny, too.
The TikToks, So recap. Okay. Yep. So, I'm going to massacre his name. I remember it's Ronald. Because at first I was so excited his name was Rocco, but that's actually the granddad.
Grandpa was Rocco, yeah.
Yep. Grandpa was Rocco. Ronald Sr., Ronald Jr., Butch. Ronald Jr. is Butch. Mm-hmm. And Ronald Sr. was abusive, but the family was well off.
Yep.
Owned a car dealership, and both the dad and the son worked there after he dropped out of high school. Mm-hmm. Got into drugs, LSD, heroin. I think there was a third one, but we haven't really touched back on it. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was LSD, heroin, and...
I feel like, I thought it was another hard drug. I don't think it was just marijuana.
No, it was another hard drug.
Speed?
Yes,
speed. There we go, okay.
Look at you!
Which is basically meth, right? I wanted to say meth, but you said speed, I thought.
I don't know so much about the drugs.
Okay.
I know that meth is used to treat ADHD, micro, not actually meth, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I always thought speed was big upper. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So into the drugs, bad family life. Ronald Jr. Butch was always picked on. They moved into this house when the youngest kid was born.
The year the youngest was born.
Yep, the year the youngest was born. They moved out of Brooklyn into, can't really remember exactly, but I remember it was Ocean Avenue.
Yep, it was Amityville.
Amityville's the town?
Yep.
Okay.
112 Ocean Avenue.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, one night. Okay, so then... There were some flare-ups. It wasn't just random out of nowhere.
No.
So Butch was into drugs. They think he had been stealing from the dealership where he worked at. Then there was a big incident where him and another guy stole $19,000, massive amount. Cops got involved, all kinds of stuff. And then a few weeks later, suddenly you already said it. You said Butch killed his family. Mm-hmm. Shot them execution style, posed them all face down, and then he shows up. Instead of calling the cops from the house phone, which they would have had if they were rich, he, like, goes to a random bar and starts, like, crying out that, like, he found his parents and they're dead, and then, like, everybody, like, the police go to the house and find everybody else.
Yep.
And I had some questions about, like, sedation, like, did he use a silencer? Like, how can you kill your whole family without any of them waking up? So on and so on. And now we're to, like, investigation trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a great recap, babe.
Okay.
You were actually paying attention. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, I pay attention, babe.
Yeah,
This isn't just
us talking on the couch where I'm, like, trying to talk to you when you're playing a game. And
yeah.
You're like,
yeah,
wait, what?
I'm actively here listening. Yes. I mean, if you let me play a game, I probably wouldn't. That's just how it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, I did feel really, like, yawning and slightly tired. I did take it.
Like I just yawned, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I got a power nap, got some food.
Yep.
And so yeah.
So we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear how Butch thinks he's getting away with this.
Well, it's wild, I'll tell you. So like Adam said, Butch had gone to the bar and said that he found his parents dead. He was freaking out. So everybody goes back to the house. They call the police. The police show up where they find all 6 members of the Defeo family dead.
Yep.
So while the police went to work securing the scene, which, by the way, was one of the worst the small Amityville PD had ever seen. I think I saw in a few articles where people were quoted as saying this was the worst thing that the town had ever experienced since it had been founded.
Yeah, an entire family murdered.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So the police actually took Butch to the station to try to make sense of what happened, and initially they actually did it also as a way to protect him.
Okay.
So this entire family is slaughtered. Butch is left alive. And Butch actually blamed his family's ties to the mob. Ooh, so the police were worried that this was like a hit, and Butch was in danger of being murdered also. Like, if he was not protected, they would come to finish the job, essentially.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about the mob, quote unquote mob ties. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Yeah, I get why they would protect him. Like, somebody just killed his entire family. Maybe the oldest son, who's kind of a druggie, wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So.
But you should also be looking at him.
Oh,
you should also be prime suspect number 1. So. I wonder if they were thinking, I wonder if they're like, we're going to bring him in and ask him some questions.
Well, obviously he was the one to find the family, so they're going to want to know what happened. You go to the house, you find your parents, like, what happened,
Yep.
So, like I said, he had fingered the mob as he, like, gave the name of a specific mob hitman.
Oh.
They questioned the guy, the hitman, supposedly, and he had an airtight alibi. He wasn't even in the same state at the time. And
Butch is saying he saw him?
I don't know. I don't think he said he saw him. He just knew, like, that was the guy.
Okay.
As we're going to find out as we go deeper into the story, he says a lot of things.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, the police actually, I think at this point, are starting to get a little sus because what Butch is telling them keeps changing.
Yeah.
Right?
And isn't panning out.
No. So they're talking to him, they're trying to make sense of what happened, and in the midst of all this, Butch actually confessed to murdering his family.
Oh, really?
He told the police once he started he couldn't stop, and it went by so fast. Now, in one of these interviews, Butch also claimed that he used sedatives before the murders. And he used a silencer. There was no silencer, and there were no sedatives found in the family.
Okay.
So, and again, like we had talked about this in the last part, when I first heard about this case, like initially, like when I found out, I knew about the Amityville Haunting, like the horror movie and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I knew it was based on like a true story, but I did not know about the whole heinous murder that happened of an entire family before the Lutzes moved in. Like, I knew there was a murder or whatever.
Okay.
But when I first actually started listening about this case, like, I was like, there's no way they could have been, somebody would have woken up. Like, there's no way that you could fire 7 shots, well, multiple shots, because he shot his parents multiple times. I think they said like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
How would nobody in that house wake up? You know what I mean? But again, none of them did, and there was no signs of any struggle in the house at all either, which is odd. The whole thing is odd.
Yeah. Very odd.
Yeah. So, obviously, after this, Butch is arrested, and the prosecution went to work to build their case against him. The defense also started working on their own case, and they were building that on an insanity defense. So, this ties into the Lutzes that we're going to talk about in the next part, which is the haunting. So, Butch claimed that he began to hear voices in his head telling him to kill his family. And he also claimed that he had heard his parents and that they were plotting to kill him. So he was acting in self-defense.
They were probably plotting to, based on the robbery, like, how we're going to deal with this. Yeah. Like, you can't status quo after he steals $19,000. Like, so, yeah. Parents are definitely talking behind your back, bro.
Oh, yeah. So, Butch was examined by psychiatrists for both the prosecution and the defense, of course, because, you got to have each of your team has to have a fair shot.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Depp Heard trial.
Literally, that is what popped in my head, too.
Yep.
And it's funny how they all come up with different conclusions.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's all about who can be the most trustworthy doctor when you start getting cross-examined is really how it plays out.
Yeah. So, the psychiatrist for the defense concluded that the insanity defense for Butch was valid. However, the prosecution's defense, a man named Daniel Schwartz, disputed this, saying that Butch did seem to suffer from an antisocial personality disorder, but he was aware of his actions and the consequences of those actions.
Okay.
And while the continued use of LSD and heroin could have contributed to his state of mind, it didn't diminish his responsibility.
Yeah, what, maybe you don't have research on this, but, like, what really is the insanity defense? Like, if he's, like, high out of his mind on drugs, is that, like, you don't know right from wrong when you come down? Or is it, like, I mean... Because I always thought, like, insanity defense was like, oh, you don't know what you're doing, or, like, maybe that's competence. That's a different thing.
Yeah, I think the insanity defense was, like, at the time of... Now, again, I don't know because I have not... It's been a while since I looked at, like, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think what it is in an insanity defense, like, you are not in your right mind, therefore you can't be held accountable in your current state, because in the state that you were at the time the crime was committed, you're not in a lucid state.
Yeah,
I
like
guess
if you had
would be a good way to...
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had a psychotic break, like a schizophrenic type break or something, and you, like, go crazy, you go temporarily insane, murder your family, and then all of a sudden are like, what did I do?
Or, like, the people, there's similar, like, I think it goes back to, like, diminished capacity. Like, the guy that won a case because he accidentally killed his wife or fiance or girlfriend, I don't remember, while in a sleepwalking episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that one, there was, like, one person that actually, like, they accepted that and he got away with it. I think people have tried to use it before. And I'm not saying, so I guess I shouldn't say he got away with it.
They'd have to have real proof of, like, the sleepwalking, I would think.
Yeah.
Versus the, yeah.
I mean, like, this guy, like, murdered his wife and then got in the car and, like, drove to his in-laws' house and, like, all while he was not awake. So, I mean, that one, I haven't looked too much into that, so I really shouldn't say that, like, oh, he got away with it, because he could genuinely, like, people do crazy things, especially if they're on, like, Ambien or something. Right. Not saying that guy was, but...
Roseanne tweeted racist things.
Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't from, like, Ambien. It was from something else in the company. The best thing was when the company was like, yeah, that's not one of the side effects. Racism is not a side effect of this medication. Which I was like, that is pure gold.
Yeah.
And I liked Roseanne. Like, even though she liked Trump, I really did like her. But that just is not... You can't be like that, in my mind. So yeah, even though he was on drugs, it didn't diminish his responsibility.
Yeah. So defense put it up. Prosecution guy said not valid. Something there, abuse, whatever, like definitely mental instability, but not to the level of you can get away with this, right. or you should be set free, or put in an institution for this.
I was gonna say, now I think with the insanity defense, it really is a difference of going to prison and then as opposed to like going to like a mental health facility to get treatment.
So in that case, it's really just a sentencing thing.
Well, I mean, here's my thought on it though. So yes, and I know that people can have psychotic breaks. They can, for whatever reason, experience a psychotic episode. Yes, if you have a psychotic break, which people do for whatever reasons, somebody can experience a mental health episode where they can act like they wouldn't do on a normal basis, right? Like it's not something that they ever intended to do. They did not plan something. They literally had this break and whatever was going on at the time took over. Yeah. That doesn't diminish. That doesn't mean that they don't still have to pay for what they did, right? Right. Like, yes, I don't think if somebody, during a psychotic break, like postpartum is the one I always think of too. Yeah. Like women that act, that their children end up being victims because they have undiagnosed, like super bad postpartum depression. I don't think that their life should be, like you shouldn't have to get the death penalty or, be in prison for the rest of your life. Now that might be a hot take, but I do think that if you can get the mental health issue under control, people can go on to lead productive lives and, Yeah. And honestly, like for people like that, when they come back around to a better state of mind, they're still dealing with the fact that they did that. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be harder on themselves than those people that did it while they were experiencing some type of episode, right? Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely you're only using that defense when, like, everybody knows that you're the person that actually killed the person, right? Like, it's not like, oh, there was another guy. It's like, you're the person, and, Well, I think I had the thought that it was invented for, like, the patriarchy, for some dude to kill his wife and be like, I was temporarily insane, and be like, okay, sure, yeah, all right, guy, You're probably not wrong. Like, let's just be real. The fact that it exists as a legal defense, like, and is accepted in court as a proposed defense means that there has to be some legitimacy to it, right? Oh, for sure. And again, I don't doubt that there are people that create or commit crimes under a mental break or psychotic break or however you want to, And a lot of times, like, I also think of women that, like, kill their abusive husbands. Like, they finally snap and kill their husbands after being abused for years and years and years. Yep. So yeah. So where's Butch? You've researched Butch. What happened with these these defenses you had conflicting? Well, we know that the home life at the Defeo house was awful, to say the least, right? So that got aired. All that dirty laundry got aired. I think Butch's defense used that as a way to lessen his responsibility. But as we know, and we have said multiple times, a bad childhood does not excuse a horrific actions as an adult, right? Yeah. Feel sorry for the child, not the adult. And I think it's pretty safe to assume that Butch may have been self-medicating, like we said earlier, to deal with his home life. But again, that does not excuse the absolutely heinous act, especially when four of the victims were his innocent siblings. Yeah. Right? Yeah. He's the oldest. It's not like he was the youngest and the oldest all picked on him. No. He was the oldest. Now, to be fair, just because he was the oldest does not mean his siblings did not pick on him. Well, it's fair. But because I'm the youngest and I know I was not very nice to my sisters at times. But to be fair, they also were not nice to me. So, I think that's just how siblings are. I think so too. It's a cyclic, you give and take. Yep. With your siblings, for sure. Because what's the story you used to tell? Like, your older brother would pick on you, you're the middle, so then you would turn around and pick on your little brother. Yep. Yep. And then, because he couldn't pick on me or get back at me, he'd go tell my older brother, and my older brother would pick on me for picking on my little brother.
You know.
Snitches get stitches, man.
Yeah. But.
Yeah.
It's all, you know.
Yeah.
It's all whatevs.
True.
But yeah, it's
kids.
like,
I mean, siblings fight. Like that's just the way it goes. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember if we've talked about that, but yeah, I have 2 brothers and you have 2 sisters, and so yeah, it's just like you said, y'all pick on each other, you know.
Yeah.
So, but in this case, it was more the dad.
Yeah.
And then Butch wasn't the best later, right?
No, he also had issues. Like it sounds like his temper. He was doing, heavy into drug use. I'm assuming that was also contributing to why he was committing like these petty crimes. You know.
Yeah.
And his behavior didn't help him out any. So it's reported that while he was in police custody, he asked them what he would need to do to collect the insurance policy against his dad. Which the defense also suggested as a possible, or the prosecution used that as a possible motive.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like if his whole family dies, who gets all the money? The sole survivor, right?
Usually, depending on the will.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I fault him. I mean, depending on how long he's in custody, like sometimes there's time limits on that stuff. Like you gotta file within so many days, or you know. But
I think there's also murder stipulations too. Like if somebody's murdered, they're not paying out any freaking money until they know who did it.
Oh yeah. The insurance is like
They don't want to give you the money that you've been paying into.
Yeah. It's supposed to be more for accidental, not for when you get murdered. By someone, and especially when that person is the beneficiary. Yeah,
that always looks real sus.
Yeah. Instant motive. Of course it's a motive.
That's why spouses are always looked at first when somebody in a couple dies.
Yep.
So, the trial for Butch began in 1975. I wasn't able to find when the trial started, but I did see that on November 21st, 1975, Butch was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder of his family.
Okay.
And he received 25 years to life sentences.
Okay. Consecutive?
I could not find if they were consecutive or concurrent. I'm pretty sure they were consecutive.
I assume life in prison for killing 6 people.
Yeah, so he wasn't getting out.
Yeah.
So, that's not where the craziness ends, though. Because...
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, this is a short episode.
So, Butch came up with some wild shit while he was in prison.
Okay.
And I want to talk a little bit about what happened after Butch went to prison and all the subsequent stories that he gave as to what really happened that night.
Okay, yeah.
Now, be prepared to be pissed off because he definitely, blames people in his family and says that he blames people that he murdered.
Yeah.
As part of the reason. So,
okay. I'm ready.
Okay.
Get upset when I...
And he continued to change his version of the events that took place that night. He gave a couple different versions where he denied killing his family and said that he actually took the blame as a way to spare his family. He claimed that his family had, again, mob ties and that he was afraid to speak out against his family, specifically his grandfather, so Luis's dad, Michael Briganti.
Okay.
And his uncle, Peter Defeo, which was his father's brother. It was rumored that Peter was connected to the Genovese crime family, and Butch claimed that he was terrified of them. Which the Genovese crime family is like a big mob, whatever.
Okay.
I don't really know, but I saw it.
I didn't grow up on the East Coast. And I was never a big I didn't follow mob stories whatsoever. So yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I didn't watch The Godfather until quite later in life.
I don't think I was
like 25, 30 or something. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched the whole thing. I've watched the end scene that you made me watch where they kill all the people. Spoiler alert.
I made you watch the super gruesome part.
Yep.
Yep.
So in 1986, Butch gave a story that his sister Dawn had killed their father, and then Louise, in a state of despair, unrest, upset, what have you, killed all of the siblings because she was so upset that Dawn had killed Ronald Sr.
Okay.
And then...
So now you have Dawn and Louisa and...
Louise.
Louise and Butch are the only 3 alive?
Yep, and then Butch said that he then killed his mother. Yeah.
Okay. And his sister?
No, so he said that his mom killed Dawn.
Okay.
As one of the siblings, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't make no sense, bro.
Oh, wait, it gets better, though.
Okay.
In 1990, Butch gave another version of the story where his sister Dawn, along with an unknown man, had killed the family, and then Butch accidentally shot Dawn while fighting with her to get the gun. He said that the unknown man had fled the scene, and this one actually caught some traction. So I remember seeing in a documentary, and I apologize, I cannot recall the name of the documentary. It was either a documentary, a TV show, or another podcast that I had listened to years ago.
Okay.
About this, the Defeos.
Yeah.
And it said that they had found unburned gunpowder on Dawn's nightgown, which they then used as evidence that she had fired a weapon that night, right? Okay. But they said no. Like that, from what I saw, that was ruled out, and they said no, that was just because it was close contact with the barrel. Like they basically pressed the barrel of the rifle against her when they shot her. Yeah. When he shot her. Yeah. And that one also, another rumor that was floating around about that one. Okay. Was that Butch and Dawn were having an incestuous relationship, and the family found out, and that's why they killed him, and then he ended up killing Dawn. I do not remember where I heard that. I just remember hearing it somewhere, and I don't think that was true.
Yeah, I don't think it's true either, and I feel like I don't believe it for a very obvious reason. Yeah. Why was she positioned in either of those cases? Why would she be positioned the same as the rest of the family? Exactly. If there was another guy and she was the one killing people, like, she positioned, like, your argument is that she positioned them, or weirdly, like, Butch would have positioned them all after.
As a way of, like, consistency? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't, yeah. Yeah. The way they were all found face down throws all of that into like, makes me not believe it, right? Like, it's like they would all have to be connected or the same killer. Yep. Like the Hitman one is actually more plausible than those.
Absolutely. Like out of all of those, that would be the most plausible. Yeah.
But sending a message of like, you die in your sleep, face down on your pillow. The Hitman one out of all of these so far has been the most plausible.
So one of the things I saw, though, was, like, they also knew that one of the rules in, like, the mob is that you don't kill children. And so they, didn't really think that. Like, that you don't kill innocent children. Yeah. Yeah. But so it gets weirder. Like, both of these stories get weirder. Okay. So, Butch had said that his sister did this. He accidentally shot her while fighting for the gun. Her co-conspirator fled the scene. They never found out who he was.
No description.
But here's the weirder part. In both of these versions, Butch claimed to be married to a woman named Geraldine, and that at the time of the murders, he was living in New Jersey with his wife. Okay?
Okay. Geraldine from New Jersey. All right.
Not Sherry, the woman that he had his girlfriend at the time.
Right.
So he claimed that his mother had called Butch to ask him to come to Amityville to help break up an argument between Ronald Sr. and Dawn, as they were, like, fighting nonstop. He needed to have him come out and, like, kind of help ease the situation, which doesn't sound like that would ever be the case. And then he walked into the scene, and he also claimed that his brother-in-law, a man named Richard, could corroborate his story. Now, there are last names out there. I don't feel like putting them because, again, there's so much on this case, you can find these really easily. I'd rather not say people's name, and especially this other guy, because I'm going to tell you in a second. So, according to Butch, Richard accompanied him to his trip back to Amityville. So this version of the story is what he gave to the court when he filed a motion to have his conviction vacated under a 440 motion. So I had to look this up because exactly, I didn't know either. I thought it was like an appeal basically, but if you're vacating your sentence, you can't appeal that. Like, I don't think that's the same. So, according to RendlemanLaw.com, a 440 motion is done by a trial court, and it challenges the legality of a conviction and is based on evidence not on record. And that's how they.
She's saying there's new evidence. It's kind of like, well, we had DNA evidence, but it's how maybe you might overturn, like, you all convicted me. There was DNA evidence that wasn't tied to me. Now we know who that is, and oh, by the way, that guy did it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a fair thing for the court system to have.
Yeah, for sure. But here's the thing, though. He wasn't married to Geraldine, ever.
Yeah.
At that time. I shouldn't say ever. At the time of the murder, Geraldine was actually married to somebody else.
Okay.
And living with, I think it was like upstate New York is what I saw.
Okay. So there was a Geraldine.
There was a Geraldine. There wasn't a Richard, though. So when they were
Richard was the buddy he claimed, or
the brother-in-law.
Don's.
No, Geraldine's brother, his brother-in-law, Butch's brother-in-law.
Yeah, I got real confused about who.
We've been working a lot on the podcast today, so it's easy to get confused. So when they filed the 440 motion, they had I think they had a statement from Geraldine, and they had the statement from Richard, who couldn't appear in court because he was busy at the time of the trial, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Like, did he actually think this was going to work? And then they found out that Geraldine and Butch made it up. He didn't exist. There was no Richard. And then, under, realizing that they'd been had and Geraldine was going to get in trouble for falsifying records.
Right.
She admitted that she didn't actually get married to Butch until 1989 as a way to solidify his case for the upcoming petition.
Yeah.
So they got married in it's so, they're dates that I was able to find. Yeah. It was they met in 85, they got married in 89, they got divorced in the 90s. He was already in jail when they got married.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I gotta be honest, so far, a lot of this is just stories he's making up to try to cover up or to in my mind, it's somewhat self-medicating. It's you did this horrible thing, and now you're trying to invent. It wasn't me. No, it wasn't me.
Reality.
You're trying to invent an alternate reality.
That's fair.
And then you try to bring people in to help make that alternate reality a reality. Mm-hmm. Especially the fact that, that guy didn't exist, and he talked Geraldine into, signing stuff. Yeah,
did they think that they were just going to let that fly? Oh, yeah, we got this statement from this guy. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Again, I think that just speaks to his mental health at the time. He really was not in his right mind to think that was in any way, shape, or form going to work, right?
Well, yeah, I thought all that stuff has to be submitted through lawyers. It's kind of lawyers can lose their licenses for submitting, false evidence, that type of stuff, I would think, or if it's just them here's the letter that Richard wrote, can't you just take this?
Yeah. It's funny you say that about the lawyers, because as we go in next episode about the hauntings, there is a lawyer involved. Now, I haven't done a ton of research yet. I'm just remembering the things that I've heard on other stories. There was a lawyer involved with the creation of the haunting, so to speak.
Okay. An upcoming excuse.
Yep.
Okay.
So, obviously that 440 motion was denied because it was all based on fucking lies.
Yeah, it's so. So I bring up lawyers, that is their point, but you also have lawyers that lie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
My dad's a liar. Oh, you mean a lawyer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
So there was also a book written in 2002, but the information in the book has pretty much been disproved. It was another variation of Dawn did it with friends, Butch was innocent.
Yep.
Now, Defeo said himself that he never gave the writer any info. Although, again, I don't believe... he probably, wanted him to spin it a certain way, and he didn't, so he oh no, I had no hand in that,
Yeah.
But the writer said that he spent upwards of 6 hours with Defeo going over the information.
Yep.
So
one guy, known liar.
Yeah.
Like,
and not to say that people don't like try to capitalize on this, is we're going to talk about next episode.
Yep.
People do try to capitalize on stuff like this to, you know, for whatever reason. But the book is called The Night the Defeos Died, and it's by Nick Osana, so you can look it up if you want to. I'm not really going to go into it because, again, it's just another variation of one of the stories that Butch told after the fact, right?
Yeah, so this one's debunked, is what? Or...
Yeah, so in it, he said that, like, Dawn committed the crime with some friends, and then Butch, like, had nothing to do with it, I think.
Yeah.
Now, again, I didn't look it up, but I know that in the book, it was also blaming his dead sister.
Yeah.
Which is just such a shitty fucking move in my mind.
Yeah, I really feel he's got some deep-seated resentment about his sister here at this point. Like, there's pretty hardcore, like, all these things putting it on her. Like, there's something... I'm not saying they had an incestuous relationship, but yeah.
But he also had, like, said it about his mom, too. Yeah. Right? Like, that his mom had killed his siblings. So, I mean, maybe he has, like, maybe he's super resentful of his mom for allowing the abuse to go on and not doing anything about it, which I do understand. His sister, like, what did she fucking do? Besides be the, you know, the next born or whatever, maybe she, like, sided with her parents on certain things. It's just so hard to know because all we know is what Butch is telling us, and you can't trust what he's saying.
Yeah, he's not telling a consistent story. He's not telling a plausible story.
No.
Yeah. So. Yeah, as you said that about like in his head, he could say my mom killed my siblings because she let the abuse go on. You know, it's like a justification of like,
right.
Like, she let dad abuse me, I killed my siblings, therefore my mom killed my siblings.
Oh, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
that is not a... I could... You can make those those are pretty small logic leaps.
Yeah.
Like, crazy logic leaps, but you know what I mean? Like...
I feel like we need to have Chris on the podcast one day so he can give us, like, the psychiatry.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just us as, like, talking about it like armchair psychiatrist.
Yeah. Like, we have zero professional training, zero, like, everything's, like, through podcasts, TV, books.
Personal experience.
Yeah. And then, so when Chris comes up to visit, podcast, special guest.
We're making him sit on the podcast.
Yeah. We'll need a third mic.
We got
one, okay.
We got one. We'll figure it out. So.
Or we could do it just one-on-one or something.
You and Chris can share a mic, get all cuddly.
Yeah.
So, again, nobody ever took him seriously. Like,
where does this go? Like, how many appeals? Like, you said you're already into the 2000s now? Mm-hmm. Like, I legitimately thought that this thing was, like, way back in the day, right? Like, it was in 74. It was in the 70s, yeah. Yeah, this happened in the 70s, right? Like... Yeah. So... But he's in life in prison, so what's he got? Does he have money? Like, I guess... So here's my question about, like, the lawyers that lie are usually the ones chasing money. Mm-hmm. So somehow they think, like...
If he gets vacated, that he gets the family inheritance?
Yeah, and then they get a shit ton of attorney fees or something. Like... Could be. I mean, that's... Like... So I feel like that's a good question. Is like, where is the money? Like what has happened to the money if he's the sole surviving, but he's in jail for the murder? Is there money? Is it, like, in a trust? Did Louise... Yeah, why do I keep having so much trouble? Louise. What did Louise... For whatever reason, I keep saying Luis in my head. Oh, yeah. And that doesn't make sense unless I'm like, it's got to be Louisa or something. Louise. Yeah, Louise. A name I've seen, Thelma.
I have a friend, Ashley Louise.
Yeah. So Louise, does she have other family? Did Ronald Sr. have other family? You know what I mean? Like it would go to other people in my mind if he's negated from payouts.
Not 100% sure, but I know that her parents were still alive at this time, or at least her dad was.
Yeah, okay.
I think that because a lot of the money came from him.
Yeah, it would just go back to him. Yeah, it would stay with him, right?
Would be my, like, educated guess on what happened to the money. Yeah. For sure. Yep. So Butch was never released from prison.
Okay.
And in March of 2021, Ronald Butch Defeo Jr. died at the age of 69.
Nice.
Yeah. I know. I've literally, I don't want to say I want to die at 69, but I mean, I can't be born in 69, so. I want to die in 2069.
I hope we live longer than 69, babe.
40 years. Yeah,
2069?
That doesn't work. That's still not far enough.
40 years would be 70 something.
No, we gotta live forever for us.
Okay. But we'll be together forever, just not
in these bodies.
Yeah.
So, Butch died. I don't think that we're ever gonna really know what happened that night.
Right.
Butch is the only one who could tell us the truth, and I don't think it could be a combination of the things, but I don't think that his sister and his mom killed him.
I don't think so either.
I think that he was solely responsible, and he was trying to figure out a way to either make himself feel better about what happened, deny, whatnot. I do think that, I feel awful for his childhood. Growing up that way is not conducive to any type of happiness as an adult. You really have to work on it. But again, he took away all of their chances to ever, he took away the dad's chance to maybe realize the error of his ways and try to be a better person and atone for his actions. His siblings never got to have a life outside of, that abuse. That's all they knew now, as, because they died before they ever got to experience a life outside of that type of environment.
Yep.
So he just took away a chance to do better or be better or have better. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is the most frustrating part. And he made that choice for his siblings. Yeah. His siblings were innocent. I don't care if you're pissed off at your siblings because they make fun of you. I think he maybe was on a bad trip. He'd been using a lot of drugs. He knew his time was short because he, his family had found out about the robbery that he claimed that happened that never did. Yeah. So I think that it was really just an act of desperation to avoid going to jail, which when you're not thinking straight and you're not making good decisions, he ultimately just made it so much worse than it had to be.
Yeah.
Unthinkable than what it had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of but this is where criminals aren't usually sound mind. This guy definitely didn't sound it, but it's
a rational person wouldn't do that.
He probably could have killed his parents and gotten away with it under a self-defense, abuse, stopping dad from abuse. Yeah. The whole fantasy that he created about his sister doing it and him stopping her, if he had just killed his parents, that story or something similar to it could have been very plausible.
I don't know though, because
you're still the drugged out oldest brother, but in my mind, it really was the killing of the siblings that cemented there's almost no defense for this.
Well, and I don't know. That's a good point, but I don't know if he would have gotten away with it because people knew that there was tension between him and his dad. I think that the catalyst was him getting busted for stealing all that money. Yeah. So if anything would have happened to his dad, I think people were automatically going to look to him. Yeah. Because they knew that they were trying to deal with this situation. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I see that's what I mean. I'm not trying to say he got away with it.
No.
I'm just saying it would have been more understandable.
Yes. I see what you're
Dad was threatening to kill me for the money. You know what I mean? Him stealing the money could have very much been a catalyst for a fight that goes
too far.
Mm-hmm. Very easily.
I see what you're saying. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying get away with it. I'm just saying
he would have had a better chance at a self-defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. I agree.
There would his opportunities or his legal defenses would have been way better, way more plausible even. Mm-hmm. If he didn't kill his siblings.
Yeah.
So it's really,
and I don't know if in his warped mind he thought he was saving them from the shame, embarrassment of having to live without their parents, or he didn't want him to end up like he was, so he just put them out of their miseries. But it's also You just, I mean, again, we don't know. We can sit here and speculate all day about what we think probably could have happened, but...
He might have thought he would have to be responsible for them. I guess we haven't really talked about how old were they. I mean, he's 23 at the time, right?
Of the murder? So the youngest sibling, he was born in 65, so he was 9 at the time?
Yeah. Yeah. So 23 to 9, like, I mean, we're talking about, like, not little 3-year-old toddlers running around. This is, these are like, most of them would probably be in their teens, right? The oldest sister is probably 18, if not even out of the house. I guess it's a little weird. I mean, maybe she's still home for whatever reason, but
yeah,
it was the 70s.
Yeah.
Hadn't found a man yet.
Fair. I mean, and also, like, I think one of the things that we, like, didn't really touch on too much was, like, 1970s, right? We have, like, the...
Disco?
I was going to say flower power, but that was the 60s. The U.S. is still very much a, like, wholesome, like, family-oriented, right? Like, ish.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the 60s was, like, the sexual revolution, all that type of stuff, right? And I feel like the 70s are hard to categorize because they're, like, disco and...
Son of Sam. Like, lots of serial killers popped up in the 70s.
Yeah, a lot of serial killers in the 70s, but for the most part, people are still running around... Houses unlocked, you know.
But for this to happen in such a small community of like a well-off community, you know, like I feel like it had to really like rock that place.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like like this family being murdered in their sleep, you know, by an unknown assailant, like the boogeyman came in the middle of the night, and then to find out it was their own son.
Yeah.
Like that had to just really fuck up some people because you know they were a wealthy family. How could something like that happen? You have money, like that shouldn't be an issue,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
But like we said, sometimes money doesn't fix everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
True story. Crazy.
So, what are your thoughts? I know we can't talk while we were going.
We already touched on a few on most of them, right? It's like. Definitely, I guess, to recap my thoughts, all the crazy stories I think are totally just the alternate reality trying to escape. It's like drugs. If you're in prison, maybe he's not getting them, you know? And so your mind comes up with, well, this is what really happened, and you convince yourself that that's what really happened. Like, people can do that. You know, it's like, it's a thing.
And I do think that he really did suffer from, like, antisocial personality disorder. I do think that he did. I mean, especially because of the childhood upbringing that he had, there's going to be ramifications from that type of upbringing.
Yep.
Like, it just doesn't go away.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But between his childhood, like, the abusive childhood, and then the drugs in, like, the teen years, like, you're not set up good for mental health.
No.
Like, so it's entirely... I get why he comes up with... Or why he pushed, like, story after story after story.
Yeah.
Like, he probably never got there.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that the fact that he did go to jail and not to, like, I mean...
A mental health institution?
Yeah, I was going to say mental health institution, but then at the same time I was like, a mental health institution in the 70s.
You'd probably rather be in jail. like, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you know... Is what instantly popped into my mind when I was like, would you rather be in jail or a mental institution? But, I mean, like, at least in a mental institution, maybe they're trying to help you, you know, theoretically. I guess, I don't know, we almost, do we even, I feel like nowadays there are sanitariums and stuff like that, right? Like,
there are mental health facilities, but it's not like
it's was. Yeah, is there, I mean, are there really, like, places that, like, institute for the criminally insane, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there still are, for sure.
Like still those?
Yeah, and they still have mental hospitals, like, and they do have, like, maximum security mental hospitals, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, my hope would be that you would probably receive more mental health care at those places than in jail, where we're just feeding and housing and, you know, maybe trying to rehabilitate you, but...
Yeah.
You know, I definitely don't believe the stories. Like I said, like the different stories, like what the Hitman is more plausible than any of the others.
I agree.
And then, yeah.
Well, and so just to be clear, like I said, I think throughout the episode, this is a pretty broad overview of the case itself.
Yeah.
You can really dig deep and like get into the weeds with this one.
Oh yeah. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, so
that would be the last final thought is, so him shooting his family is not the Reynolds Ryan story, right? You said the Lutzes earlier?
Yes.
Because I thought that was like an axe murder or something. Or what did he do?
No, I mean, okay.
It was like the dad. Yeah, because that movie was specifically like the dad going crazy and killing or trying to kill the family, kind of like The Shining.
Like the Lutzes, yes.
Yeah.
George Lutz.
Okay.
So let's briefly touch on the next episode then. So okay, your frame of reference is the Amityville Horror, right? The movie.
Yeah. Like I have the worst frame of reference on this because I knew none of this. Everything we have covered is new information to me.
So next week we are going to be talking about the haunting that supposedly took place. Now I say supposedly. I have said it many times. I believe in ghosts, but I also believe that there are people that are opportunistic that want to benefit from a tragedy and play up things that maybe necessarily didn't happen.
Okay.
The Amityville Horror movie is actually based on a book that a gentleman wrote in conjunction or with the Lutz family.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now my interest is peaked for the next episode.
Because
I thought that was the killings. I thought that was the
Nope. So nobody actually dies in the Lutz family.
Okay.
Okay. I very much question the validity of the haunting for this.
Yeah.
Only after I've said before, I think spaces can sometimes hold on to energy. Would that house have bad energy because of all the tragedy that took place? Absolutely.
Yeah, probably, but yeah.
I think some of it was played up.
Oh yeah.
By people that maybe were working on getting Butch out of prison.
Oh, okay.
And maybe came up with some things to bolster their claims. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. What?
There's a.
So what's my frame of reference here then? Did the Lutzes move in after the 6 murders?
Yes.
Okay.
The Lutzes buy the house after the Defeos.
Okay.
And they were the first people to live there after the Defeos.
Oh, okay.
Murders.
Okay.
And they only stayed for 28 days.
Okay.
And they left everything and moved out, claiming that it was extremely haunted.
Okay.
I will say, the Defeos were not the first people that live in this house.
Yeah.
There was a family that lived before that built the house that very much enjoyed their home and never had any type of issues. Now, again, not to say things can't happen.
Yeah.
Can, like, bad, not a poltergeist, but can, like, things can maybe be attracted to a space if there's so much bad negative energy, which obviously was happening with the Defeos. Like, that could really create a lot of bad energy. But we're going to get into all the theories behind the hauntings as well.
All I want to do is keep singing Ocean Avenue now.
I know. Better than what I want to sing, which is Amityville by Eminem.
Okay.
Mentally ill from Amityville. Accidentally kill your family still. Like, it's terrible. But, I mean, Eminem's not terrible. But
yeah.
So that's going to be the next episode.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the hauntings. I know you're going to, like, scoff at some things. And also next week, or next episode, we're going to be talking about the Warrens, which Adam also didn't know until I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were involved in this case.
The Warrens were involved with the Amityville case. So we'll touch a little bit on them as well.
Yeah.
We're not going to go too much into them because literally, like, they could be their own set of episodes. Because
what is it? Ed and Lorraine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing better.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking nail it.
I mean, I still think of Vera Farmiga as Lorraine,
and Patrick Wilson. Not Owen Wilson, Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can picture his face. Yeah, I don't know his name.
I think it's Patrick Wilson.
He's got the very...
Yes. Let me tell you.
It's funny because I just saw, like, a TikTok of somebody who's watching the one with the creepy nun.
Oh.
And, like, she's watching the painting, like, the arms come out of the painting and stuff. And somebody was behind the person with, like, a fucking like pot and metal spoon.
I saw that one.
And like right when like the loud music started, they banged it and the person freaked out. And I'm like, yeah, I would freak out too. Like if you did that to me,
I'd probably get punched. Not meaning like you would beat me, but like your instinct would be to like fucking freak out and I'd get smacked.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will be talking a little bit about the Warrens.
Okay. Yeah, we're teasing this next episode real good.
Well, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do the next episode in just one part. But again, there's so much to cover that we cannot guarantee that. But we will start talking about the hauntings next week, I promise. Yeah. And we're going to do our best. It might be a super long episode, but we've been recording a few episodes today, so we just didn't have it in us to do a
marathon.
Super
marathon.
Yeah. So y'all get what you get.
We did the half marathon. We were not able to do the full.
No. I got a belly full of spaghetti and a half a crumble cookie calling my name.
Oh, I definitely got a half a crumble cookie calling my name.
Call my name. Who dare call my name?
I can't believe I got that out so well.
You did. I was like stumbling over a belly full of spaghetti.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as always, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes.
We really do appreciate everybody that's been listening and downloading and subscribing. Make sure you keep doing that. If you haven't already, just follow our show. It's free and easy. All you gotta do is follow our show and maybe do some downloading on your episodes because that actually helps, makes us more visible. Like the more downloads you get, the more visible you are on every platform. So that actually helps us become more visible to more people, all the things. So you can also leave us a 5-star rating or a review. You can leave us another one, but if you're not giving us a 5-star, maybe just talk to me first. I might turn you into giving us a 5-star. No, just kidding. The more reviews and ratings we get also helps bolster our numbers and makes us more visible. So do that on whatever platform you're listening on. You can also check out, we have socials. We have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all just Creepy Cascadia Pod. Share us with your friends and family, random people that you met at a bar and you're still friends with on Facebook. I literally went to go clean out my friend list a while back when I had, before I deleted Facebook, last year or the year before.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the fuck are these people? How do I know them? And then it triggered, oh my God, I'm pretty sure I met these people at a bar one time and my God, we should totally hang out.
Right.
Don't know them from...
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, share us with those people.
Yep. Invite your Geraldines, invite your Richards.
Yeah. We're not saying make fake people, but still. So we also have our website, which is creepycascadiapod.com, or we have an email, which is admin@creepycascadiapod.com. If you have an encounter with the paranormal, true crime, you just want to chat with us, please send us an email. We love talking to you guys and we love interacting with people that are also enjoying the show. We have business cards and stickers. If you guys want some business cards or stickers to pass out at a party to your coworkers, anybody that you think might enjoy listening to the podcast, just shoot us a message and we'll mail you some. We'll be happy to do that. We want you to just spam everybody with our shit.
Oh, please don't annoy your friends with our stuff. Just recommend us. Do it. Do it.
But anyway, so that's our episode for the week. We hope everybody is having a great week so far.
Yeah.
And tune in next week to hear more about the fucking crazy Amityville.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good week, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.